Welcome to Voyage Daily Tech, the most important news personalized for you every day, supported by Voyage.com.
After listening to today's news, you'll know. First, hyperscalers like Google and Amazon are building custom ASICs, challenging Nvidia's GPU dominance despite its massive CUDA software moat and chip shipments. We'll explore how this push for chip sovereignty could transform the AI hardware market and threaten Nvidia's long-term competitive position. Second, Google reveals it must double AI compute every 6 months, fueling a $380 billion infrastructure arms race among tech giants to stay competitive. We'll analyse why this unprecedented capital burn is a turning point and how it could create an insurmountable AI oligopoly. Third, the US reverses policy to approve a $1 billion sale of 35,000 Nvidia chips to Saudi Arabia following a $1 trillion investment pledge. In this episode, we'll break down this transactional tech diplomacy and what it signals for the global AI arms race and US foreign policy. Fourth, OpenAI partners with Foxconn for US-based AI data center manufacturing, a high-stakes bet on a company with a history of failure in America. Today, we'll take a closer look at this strategic partnership and its implications for OpenAI's vertical integration and America's AI supply chain security. Fifth, PwC's chairman confirms AI will slash thousands of graduate jobs, yet the firm faces a critical shortage of specialized AI engineering talent. So we'll discuss why this skills paradox matters and what it means for the future of professional services and traditional career paths. Nvidia just shipped 6 million of its latest Blackwell GPUs in a single year, yet the very tech giants buying those chips are now plotting to cut Nvidia out of the equation entirely. A while back, we discussed how Nvidia's rapid annual chip releases were creating a depreciation bubble where companies struggled with hardware becoming obsolete in just 2 to 3 years. So what's actually unfolding as a direct response to that pressure is a push for something much bigger than just saving money. It's about chip sovereignty. When Google, Amazon, and these other hyperscalers build their own custom chips, they're essentially breaking free from dependence on any outside supplier. You know, if you control the entire stack from hardware to software, you control your destiny. Google, Amazon, and even OpenAI are pouring billions into building their own custom AI chips called ASICs. And one industry expert predicts these custom chips will grow even faster than Nvidia's GPU market. We're talking about a complete reshuffling of the AI chip kingdom, and the stakes are enormous. The custom ASIC market is projected to hit $30 billion by 2025, growing at a staggering 30% annually. That kind of growth is a clear signal that the ground is shifting. Interestingly enough, Amazon's custom Trainium chips are already delivering 30 to 40% better price performance than other hardware vendors. Google has been at this game for a decade with their TPUs and just released their 7th generation. Meanwhile, Nvidia is charging $3 million for a single server rack with 72 GPUs, shipping about 1,000 of these racks every week. This is where the situation takes a more complex turn because these aren't just side projects. Anthropic is training its Claude AI on up to 1 million of Google's TPUs. Amazon built its biggest AI data center in Indiana, stuffed with 500,000 Trainium 2 chips. OpenAI just cut a deal with Broadcom to start building their own custom ASICs by 2026. Now, you might be wondering, who's actually making all these custom chips? This is where it gets fascinating. Companies like Broadcom are becoming the real kingmakers. Broadcom controls between 55 and 60% of the custom ASIC market, and their AI-related revenues are expected to hit $11 billion this year. They're basically the arms dealers in this chip war, profiting from everyone trying to break free from Nvidia. The math is brutal for Nvidia's dominance. A single Nvidia GPU can cost up to $40,000, while these custom ASICs are smaller, cheaper, and designed for specific needs. Sure, designing an ASIC costs tens of millions up front, but for tech giants, the long-term savings are enormous. Now, what's often overlooked in this conversation, something we've emphasized before, is Nvidia's secret weapon, CUDA. Over 5 million developers worldwide are trained in it, creating a massive software moat. AMD's competing platform has a developer base 16 times smaller. Moving away from CUDA isn't just about hardware, it means retraining your entire development team, which creates powerful switching costs. But that's not the whole picture. The battle is also expanding beyond the data center. Apple, Qualcomm, and Samsung are embedding AI chips directly into phones and laptops, creating an entirely new battlefield for on-device AI that doesn't need the cloud at all. Believe it or not, running AI on your phone uses 90% less energy per query than sending it to the cloud. Apple's M4 chip can perform 38 trillion operations per second right on your device. This isn't just about better performance. It's a completely different business model where companies sell you more valuable hardware instead of cloud compute. There is, however, a hidden risk that could derail everything. Almost every single one of these competing chips, whether from Google, Amazon, Apple, or Nvidia, gets manufactured at TSMC in Taiwan. We're talking about 70% of the world's advanced chips coming from one company in one geopolitically sensitive location. TSMC is building facilities in Arizona, but those chips will cost 30% more to produce. The irony is perfect. Nvidia's customers have become so addicted to AI chips that they're now building their own supply to break free from their dealer. Speaking of the immense demand driving this push for chip sovereignty, Google just dropped a number that should make every tech executive break out in a cold sweat. They have to double their AI compute capacity every 6 months just to keep up. This is a pace of growth that, almost defies the normal laws of technology scaling. To understand how wild this is, consider that Google's latest Trillium chip, their 7th generation TPU, already delivers nearly 5 times the performance of its predecessor while being 67% more energy efficient. Even with these massive leaps, they still can't build fast enough. Amin Vahdat, Google's AI infrastructure boss, revealed that Google needs to scale up 1,000 times over the next 4 to 5 years. Think about that math for a second. We're talking about the most resource-intensive arms race in tech history where falling behind for even one cycle could be catastrophic. What makes Google's strategy particularly bold is their bet on custom silicon. While Microsoft's Maya chip has hit production delays and Amazon is still proving its Trainium chips, Google's decade-long investment in TPUs is paying off. Their latest Ironwood TPU delivers 4.6 petaflops of performance per chip, with a massive 9,216 chip pod achieving 42.5 exaflops more power than the world's largest supercomputer. Vahdat himself called this the most critical and also the most expensive part of the AI race, and the spending numbers back him up. Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta are now collectively burning through more than $380 billion this year on infrastructure alone. Google just cranked their own spending forecast up to $93 billion, with CEO Sundar Pichai warning that 2026 will be even more intense. In fact, Pichai openly admitted that Google's cloud numbers, despite hitting 34% growth, would have been much better if they simply had more compute power. Translation: they're leaving money on the table because they can't build fast enough. And there's a critical bottleneck that many are missing. As we've flagged before, the power crisis hitting data centers is materializing faster than expected. Gartner predicts that 40% of AI data centers will face power shortages by 2027. On top of that, 83% of industry experts believe local supply chains aren't equipped to handle the specialized networking and cooling infrastructure these AI data centers need. When employees pressed Pichai about whether this spending spree resembles a dangerous AI bubble, his response was telling. He acknowledged the elements of irrationality but doubled down with a stark warning: the risk of underinvesting is pretty high. In other words, in this game, falling behind is worse than overspending. This echoes the dot-com fiber optic build-out, but with a key difference. Today's tech giants are funding this with cash flow, not debt. As we noted a while back, we're witnessing the formation of a potential AI oligopoly, where this level of spending creates an almost insurmountable barrier to entry. The stakes couldn't be clearer. Google's finance chief put it bluntly: the opportunity in front of us is significant and we can't miss that momentum. They're betting everything that AI demand will justify this unprecedented capital burn rate, because in a race where you have to double capacity every 6 months, there's no such thing as playing it safe. This infrastructure arms race isn't just happening within Silicon Valley, it's gone global. That brings us to a major reversal in US policy, where the Commerce Department just approved a $1 billion sale of 35,000 cutting-edge Nvidia chips to Saudi Arabia and the UAE after years of blocking such sales. As we previously discussed, Saudi Arabia's Humain was using a compute for equity strategy to buy its way into AI supremacy. Now we're seeing the next phase of that strategy unfold, with the US government actively enabling it. What's fascinating is how the US is structuring this deal. They're not just handing over the chips with a handshake. They're implementing rigorous security and reporting requirements, including location tracking mechanisms, mandatory incident reporting, and end-use monitoring systems. The question everyone's asking is whether this is genuine security or just elaborate security theatre. This is a complete 180-degree reversal from just months ago when the Biden administration was tightening export controls, terrified that American AI tech would slip through Gulf Arab backdoors to China. Here's where it gets interesting. This bombshell approval came right after Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman visited Washington and pledged a jaw-dropping $1 trillion in US investment. That's not a typo. $1 trillion. What we're witnessing here is unprecedented in modern tech diplomacy. The US is essentially using access to foundational AI technology as a transactional bargaining chip. This isn't entirely new. Think of the technology for alliance exchanges during World War II, but never before have we seen cutting-edge AI capabilities traded at this scale for direct financial commitments. However, if you zoom out, you'll see another layer of strategy at play. Saudi Arabia's AI company Humane just went on a partnership shopping spree, signing deals with Adobe, Qualcomm, AMD, Cisco, and Elon Musk's xAI to build a massive 500 megawatt data center in the kingdom. The CEO of Humane stated they want to build the capacity in 2026, equivalent to what Saudi has built in the last 20 years, all in 1 year. Meanwhile, the UAE's G42 has secured a $1.5 billion investment from Microsoft and is developing one of the world's largest data center clusters. We're seeing two state-backed entities with unlimited funding in a fierce race to become the region's dominant iHub. The Saudis aren't just buying chips. They're positioning themselves to become the third biggest global AI hub after the US and China, and now they have the US government's blessing. This decision brings both benefits and comes with inherent risks. The stated US goal is American AI dominance. Yet the strategy involves exporting the very tools that enable other nations to build their own sovereign AI capabilities. Are we creating a US-aligned AI ecosystem, or are we accelerating the creation of powerful future competitors? After all, the European Union is already building 4 AI gigafactories, specifically to reduce dependence on US firms. President Trump's Commerce Department is calling this a move to promote continued American AI dominance. But the real story is simpler. A $1 trillion Saudi promise just bought them access to America's most advanced AI arsenal. While the US exports its AI arsenal, there's a parallel push to secure the manufacturing supply chain back home. That brings us to OpenAI's latest big bet, which begins with a decision that caught many by surprise. Partnering with Foxconn to build AI data center components in the United States, despite Foxconn's spectacular past failure on American soil. We've been tracking Foxconn's pivot into AI manufacturing, and this OpenAI collaboration takes it to a new level. The company that assembles your iPhone is now set to co-develop and manufacture the core infrastructure for AI power systems, networking, cooling at facilities across Wisconsin, Ohio, Texas, Virginia, and Indiana. So the thing is, this partnership is structured differently from anything we've seen before. Unlike traditional manufacturing deals, this collaboration has no binding financial obligations. OpenAI gets to test drive these AI server systems without being on the hook to buy them if things go sideways. What really brought this to a head for many observers is Foxconn's brutal track record in America. Back in 2018, they promised Wisconsin a massive $10 billion factory that was mostly abandoned. Now, Microsoft is building an AI data center on that very same site. So OpenAI is essentially saying, we trust you to get it right this time with technology that's even more critical. The larger context here is that Foxconn's chairman just announced plans to invest between $1 and $5 billion to expand their US manufacturing footprint, aiming to assemble up to 2,000 AI server racks per week by 2026. This is a massive commitment to domestic production. This all points to a clear strategy. OpenAI is following the vertical integration playbook that made Apple and Google dominant. Just like Google developed custom chips and Apple controls its entire ecosystem, OpenAI is betting that controlling the full stack from software to physical infrastructure is now essential for AI leadership. If that was just the appetizer, the main course is the rest of OpenAI's deal-making blitz. They have a $100 billion agreement with Nvidia that's still not finalized, cloud partnerships with Microsoft, Google, and Amazon, plus major commitments with Oracle and SoftBank. This manufacturing partnership represents the supply-side infrastructure needed to support that explosive demand. The geopolitical implications here are massive. Bringing Taiwanese manufacturing expertise to American soil is a classic example of friendshoring, relocating critical production to allied nations amid US-China tech tensions. The move aligns perfectly with policies like the CHIPS Act. Altman called this partnership a step toward ensuring core AI technologies are built in America, a generational opportunity to reindustrialize the country. With Foxconn's global reach and expertise, OpenAI is betting that this controversial partnership will be the foundation that makes America the undisputed leader in AI infrastructure. So we've covered the hardware, the data centers, and the literal nuts and bolts of the AI revolution. But what about the people? The boss of global accounting giant PwC just dropped a bombshell about the future of graduate jobs, and it reveals a fascinating duality. Mohammed Kandi, the firm's global chairman, confirmed AI will slash entry-level graduate hiring. At the same time, the firm is desperately hunting for hundreds of specialized AI engineers and can't find them. Let's dig into what's happening. These aren't just any tech jobs. PwC needs professionals who can master PyTorch and TensorFlow, build with Docker and Kubernetes, and deploy on platforms like AWS and Google Cloud. The problem is traditional universities aren't teaching these skills fast enough. It's a perfect storm of demand meeting almost no supply. Now, get this. PwC used to hire armies of fresh graduates to sift through mountains of data. That work took weeks. Now, AI models are doing the same job in minutes. The firm already axed more than 5,600 roles last year and has abandoned its plan to hire 100,000 people over 5 years. And it's crucial to understand this isn't just PwC's problem. According to a recent survey, 66% of enterprises are reducing entry-level hiring because of AI adoption. The traditional career ladder is literally disappearing across media, retail, healthcare, and professional services. Kandi didn't mince words. When we made the plans to hire that many people, the world looked very, very different. Now we have artificial intelligence. I don't know if it's going to be the same level of people that we hire. It will be a different set of people. The situation presents a true paradox. While traditional graduate positions are vanishing, PwC is drowning in demand for AI expertise it simply cannot fill. The company is fielding calls from panicked businesses worldwide who need help with everything from tariffs to AI integration, creating a consulting goldmine. For decades, these big four firms were the ultimate social mobility machines, so this shift is profoundly important. Smart kids from any background could get hired and climb the ladder. Now that apprenticeship model is fundamentally broken. When AI automates the grunt work that used to train junior associates, how do you develop the judgment and skills for senior roles? Meanwhile, PwC's competitors aren't sitting still. KPMG just dropped $100 million on AI partnerships with Google Cloud, expecting $1 billion in growth. The entire industry is in an AI arms race, and they're all facing the same brutal reality. Industry observers are sounding the alarm that AI threatens thousands of junior jobs across the entire professional services sector. The message is crystal clear. The days of hiring massive waves of graduates to do grunt work are over, and the professional services industry will never look the same again.
That's it for today on Voyage Daily Tech. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.